Well guys, seems it's the end of an era. Met some great people, played some awesome matches, had a lot of fun. But unfortunately, it seems like it's time to pull the plug. Now, to ask the question, is there anything out there that can fill this void? Well, hopefully this video can answer that question. Let's talk about this. Hey everybody, what is going on? First off, I want to say if you're one of my subscribers and you're one of the people that continue to watch my videos and like my videos and comment on them, thank you from the bottom of my heart. It really means a lot for me to keep this channel going, and I do plan on putting out a lot more content. This has really been an awesome week for this channel. If you're new here and you're not really understanding what's going on this channel is going to be a lot of different things. It's going to be game reviews, news, topical discussions with the community. I want this channel to be a lot of community-driven topics, a lot of things that are going on in the gaming industry, with games, with the community, with the players. So this is for the average gamer, which is why it's titled that. Now, with this video, I was originally going to compose a list of top 5 games to replace Paladins or to fill the void that Paladins left, and I couldn't come down to 5. I couldn't come down with a top 5. I really couldn't come up with a ranking system for any of these games because these games are so different sometimes in so many different ways, they fill different players' needs. And I also couldn't narrow it down to just 5. So instead of narrowing a top 5 list, I just made a list of games in no particular order that can fill this void. And there should be something on here for everybody. There's games for PC, Xbox One, and PS4 all on this list. So hopefully, no matter what system you're on, you can find something to help fill this void a little bit. Now obviously, none of these games are going to fill 100% of the void because Paladins was a very unique game on its own, and none of these games are identical to that. But there should be enough qualities in all these games that you should be able to at least wean yourself off of Paladins and maybe find even more enjoyment in some of these titles. Now, before I get started, I want to go ahead and say don't expect to see things like Lawbreakers or Overwatch on this list. Not because they're not comparable games, but because I composed this list of games that were also free to play, so that when you're leaving Paladins, you're not spending a premium on a game hoping that it fills the void, then wind up being disappointed. So every game on this list is a free-to-play title that you can download for free. Now, first up on this list is Dirty Bomb. Now, I actually haven't had a whole lot of an opportunity to play this very much, but the community recommended it a lot. I had people commenting on the last video I did and recommend it. I had people in the Reddit recommending it, people on the Aminos and the forums recommending it. It seems to be a game that a lot of people are going to after leaving Paladins, or even before they left Paladins, that they say is comparable because it's an objective-based shooter. I really can't give you too much of a first-hand impression on it because I really haven't been able to play it all too much. I just finished installing it yesterday, but it was recommended to me by the community, so I figured I had to put it on this list because so many people said it deserved to be on this list, so I thought I had to put it on here. Now, I will say it does look like it might be a little bit more difficult to get the hang of than Paladins. I've heard a lot of people say it doesn't hold your hand. It is a little bit more technical and a little bit harder to figure out and get the hang of, but people have said it's a good game to replace Paladins. I personally haven't been able to play it a whole lot, so can't give you too much of a first-hand impression. I have heard rumors that there are some pay-to-win aspects, but I've also heard that there aren't, and that people are just blowing it out of proportion. I don't know because I haven't really been able to play it all too much. One day here soon I will play it a little bit more and I'll post an impressions video about it and let you guys know my actual thoughts on it. But as of right now, I'm just basing this off the community. This is a community-driven channel, so it's going on the list. Link will be in the description below for all the games I'm talking about, so if you want to check it out, check it out. And next up on this list is Paragon. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking. Paragon is a lot more like Smite than it is Paladins because it is a MOBA. And yes, it is a lot like Smite, and it's not a whole lot like Paladins, but it does have some aspects that do remind me of Paladins. The card system for the buffs, the vertical mobility with the characters, and the team play is really fun in this game. There's a lot of times where I would actually go from Paladins and playing this because I actually preferred this over Smite because this gave me more of a Paladins feel than Smite did, and I really was not a big fan of Smite. So, yes, it's a MOBA. It is, a lot more like Smite than it is Paladins, but it does fill a lot of what is missing when you don't have Paladins to play. So, if you've not checked out Paragon and you have a PS4 or PC, I recommend you at least give it a shot. It is a lot of fun, and it's a pretty fun game on its own. It doesn't have to be just a replacement for Paladins, but because it can replace some aspects of it, I'm throwing it on this list. Now, coming up on our third entry, this game is arguably, at least in my eyes, the best replacement for Paladins, and this game is gigantic. Now, the biggest problem with Gigantic is it doesn't have the marketing that it deserves. It doesn't have the traction that it deserves in the community, because a lot of people don't even know about this game, and they look at it and they don't even want to try it because they don't understand it. Now, this game is a little confusing to figure out at the beginning because there is a lot more to work with and a lot more you have to do strategy-wise to win the game than you do in Paladins. I mean, Paladins, compared to this game, is pretty straightforward. Between summoning creatures, getting kills, powering up your Guardian, and then attacking the enemy Guardian's Soulstone when your Guardian attacks theirs and gets them down. I mean, this game has a lot of complex mechanics, and it makes it a little bit harder to get used to than Paladins. But once you actually figure it out, it's really not hard. It's a lot like Warframe. It's hard to figure out at the beginning, but once you get the hang of it, it's super easy and simple. So I highly recommend you check out Gigantic if you haven't yet. It'd be awesome to see if maybe this video could help get this game more traction, because I would like to see this game, you know, continue to go on and thrive. Unfortunately, the game's kind of dying off because a lot of people aren't playing it. So this game deserves a lot more attention than it's getting, and it'd be awesome to see it get the attention it deserves, because right now is the opportune time for this game to finally, you know, make its way back into the forefront of these games, especially as a free-to-play title, and actually get the attention it deserves and get enough people playing to make sure that it stays running, because this is a really fun game, guys, and it's beautiful. It looks really great. The cel-shaded art is just amazing, and this is what I go to whenever I didn't want to play Paladins, but I wanted the same kind of feel because of the way the team play works. So if you haven't tried Gigantic, I highly recommend you check it out. Now, next up on this list is a game that a lot of you, almost all of you, I'm sure have probably heard of, and that is Battleborn. Now, this game started out as a AAA, you know, title that tried to compete with Overwatch and failed, and it's still around and is actually a free-to-play title. At least the PvP aspect of it is. The PvE section is still locked behind a paywall, but I mean, let's face it, if you're looking to replace Paladins, you're looking for a PvP game. And right now, like, same with Gigantic, with Paladins doing this is actually a good time for Battleborn to actually make its way back into, you know, the forefront of these games and maybe even survive. Now, it's unlikely because this game's been, you know, pretty much abandoned at this point in time, but it's still a fun game. It still deserves some attention, and what better time to give a game that doesn't get the attention it deserves attention than when a game that's been getting a lot of attention does something really crappy. So go ahead, if you haven't checked out Battleborn yet, I mean, it's free if you want to play the PvP section of the game. You know, you might as well check it out. Like I said, it's a free-to-play game now. It's worth giving it a shot. Now, next up on this list is the OG, the one that started it all, Team Fortress 2. Now, this game is the one that actually inspired Overwatch, inspired Paladins, has inspired this whole trend. Now, this game is going on almost a decade old and is still running and surviving today. It just recently got the Jungle Inferno update. Now, patches for this game are few and far between, but then again, it's been around for a decade, so balancing, bugs aren't really a huge issue with this game because it's been around for so long. Now, if you've not at least heard of this game, you must be living under a rock, because this game has been around forever. It's a free-to-play title now on Steam. When it originally released, it wasn't. But it's been a free-to-play title for a while now. You can download it on Steam. I believe you can even get the orange box from like GameStop for a couple dollars, and even play it with backwards compatibility on Xbox One if you really wanted to. So if you've never checked out Team Fortress 2 and you're into these kind of games, I don't know what you're waiting for. This is a game you definitely need to check out. Now, to finish off this list, we got Battleborn. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have heard about this game, especially recently with the big OB64 controversy in Paladins. This game's actually been around for a while. It was in paid early access on Steam if you bought the Founders Pack, and it just recently became free-to-play. Now, I've had it installed on my system for a while. I only played it here and there because it is a little bit tougher to get the hang of the controls, because it's not a first-person game. It does have a MOBA-style perspective, and the controls are a little bit hard to get used to if you're not used to playing these kinds of games. But it is a lot of fun. It does have a lot of the same feel and aspects that Paladins has. In fact, a lot of the characters feel like Paladins characters. Now, I think the biggest difference between this and Paladins isn't actually the camera or the movement, but it's the game type. In Paladins, your KD really doesn't matter as long as your frontline or whoever can get the objective and run the objective. If everybody does their job, you can win. It doesn't matter what your KD is. With Battleborn, there is a health orb that spawns in the center, and whichever team destroys it increases their max health, regains health and regains energy, and that's awesome, but you don't actually have to do it to win the game. The point of the game is to defeat the enemy team, to wipe the enemy team. So your KD does matter. Your KD is important in this game. While this game has a lot of similarities to Paladins, there's also a lot of things that are different that make it stand out on its own as its own game. So there's enough there to pull the Paladins players over to get them started and get them hooked, but there's enough there to make them like it for its own thing, not to compare it so much to Paladins, to like it for what it is, it being its own game. And I will say this, when it comes to bug fixes and balancing, every couple days usually there's an update on this game, and almost always it's bug fixes or balancing or both. It's only every few updates do you get anything like cosmetics. So it seems like they're actually focusing on development of the game instead of just focusing on skins and new heroes and whatnot. If you guys feel like that's your cup of tea, definitely check it out. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, all the games I talked about today will be in the description down below, so go check them out if you want to. Was there any games that weren't on this list that you guys think should have been? If so, please comment below, let me know, and we will try to do a follow-up, and we'll discuss some other games. Like I said, this is a community-driven channel, so if there was something that you didn't see on here that you think should have made the cut, please let me know, because I might not even know it exists. I was actually going to talk about Master X Master. That's another game that I actually thought filled a lot of that void too, but actually they're closing down next month, so I didn't really feel like it was prevalent to go ahead and tell you guys about the game, just have it get shut down next month. But also, I am currently doing testing for a AAA title that is due out next year. They gave me an NDA, so I can't actually discuss a lot of it right now. They told me I have to wait till the NDA's up. I'm guessing it'll be probably a couple weeks or a month or so before they let me actually post a video on it. So I am currently working on a video for this game. I'm excited to discuss it with you guys. So just so you know, I am actually doing something for this channel that's pretty big, and as soon as that NDA is up, you guys will be the first to get it. But yeah, I'm working on a video right now about Warframe and Destiny, and a couple other ideas I got floating around, but let me know what you guys want to talk about. Comment down below. As always, thank you. If you haven't subscribed and you want to subscribe and you want to see more, please click the red button to see more, and I will see you guys next time.
To go even further beyond!